Secretary of Labour Party of the Federal High Court that gags the National Youth Service Corps from making further statements concerning the genuineness of the NYSC certificate being paraded by Mr. Peter Mbah. Thank you, gentlemen, for attending this briefing, and we call on you to join this, our struggle, to make the issues concerning the forgery of NYSC certificate by Mr. Peter Mbah a topical national issue. Worse is the fact that Mr. Peter Mbah has commenced syndicated actions to compromise every institution of state just to sustain himself in power. Now we shall painstakingly chronicle the events as they have occurred to make it easy for Nigerians and the media to engage with and ensure we stop this recklessness before it gets too late. Sometimes in November 2022, a law firm, Omas and Partners, sent a letter to the Director General of NYSC seeking verifications of the CTC of the Certificate of National Service with numbers A 808297 submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission by Mr. Peter Mbah in a letter dated 1st February 2023. The NYSC confirmed that the certificate was not issued by them. Upon receipt of the letter, a civil society group, Total Support for the Rule of Law and Justice Initiative, commenced a direct criminal complaint at the Magistrate Court in Wuse Zone 6 in a suit marked CR/24/23 by a letter dated 6th February 2023. Chief Magistrate, His Worship Emmanuel Iyana, ordered the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 7 to cause an investigation in respect of the allegations and report back to the court within 2 weeks. It was at this stage that the NGO in question addressed the media and called on Mr. Mbah to withdraw from the governorship contest and apologize to the good people of Enugu State, having been exposed for his forgery. At that point, all hell was let loose. Mr. Mbah began implementation of a grand design to compromise all institutions of state. It will interest Nigerians in general and the media in particular to note that the AIG, in obedience to the court action, swung into action by writing to the DG of NYSC more than 3 months after, and in direct derision of the powers of the court. The Director General of NYSC, being a military man and having access to a gun, has refused to respond to the AIG, despite the letter being ordered by the court. There can be no worse level of disobedience to civil authority than this. Unfortunately, this was after Mr. Mbah was identified to have visited the headquarters of the NYSC in Maitama, Abuja. Again, on the 10th of February 2023, while being a lawyer and knowing the basics about jurisdiction of courts, Mr. Mbah filed a suit marked EN/84/23 against INEC at the Enugu State High Court, seeking injunction reliefs to restrain the commission from removing and withdrawing his name or simply disqualifying him due to the forgery of the certificate. While the above-named suit was still pending in Enugu State High Court, Mr. Peter Mbah hired a shady group the registered trustees of People's Wellbeing Association to file a defective suit against him. The suit was marked FCT/HC/2399/2033 for filing the suit without certifying public documents attached to the suit. The hired claimant also refused or neglected to file either a further affidavit or counter affidavit in opposition to the counterclaim by Mr. Mbah. From reading a copy of the judgment, the collusion between the parties will be obvious, even on the surface, as it is shameful that the court had to be desecrated to this extent to conceal the forgery. As usual, in order to hide a lie, another lie needs to be told, knowing that the order of the FCT High Court he earlier secured cannot save him from the impending outcome of the challenge of the forgery at the Enugu State Governorship Election Tribunal. Mr. Peter Mbah continued his forum shopping. Again, he filed another suit, this time against the NYSC and his director, called Certificate Ibrahim A. Muhammad. It was shocking to hear the prayers Mr. Mbah sought via ex parte application. In the motion he filed, he saw two orders. One, an order of interim injunction restraining the defendants or the respondents, whether by themselves, their directors, officers, servant, legal representative, counsels, or any other person or persons howsoever described and connected from issuing, publishing, or continue to issue public or published disclaimer to the effect that NYSC certificate of national service dated 6th of January 2023, certificate numbers A 808297, issued to the plaintiff, Barrister Peter Mbah, in accordance with Section 11 of the National Youth Service Corps Decree number 51 of 1993, was not issued by the National Youth Service Corps pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice for interlocutory injunction filed in this suit. Number two, an order of interim injunction restraining the defendants individually, collectively, whether by themselves, their directors, officers, servants, counsel, professional advisors, legal representatives, tribunal, or any other person, natural or legal, in receipt or knowledge of the aforesaid disclaimer issued or published by the defendant in supposition that the NYSC certificate of national service number A 808297 belonging to Mr. Peter Mbah was not issued by the defendants, not to rely, countenance or accord any probative evidential value on it, pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice for interlocutory injunction filed in this suit. The learned judge granted prayer 1 above. The funny but very painful implication is that NYSC has been stopped by the Federal High Court from stating the fact that they did not issue to Mr. Peter Mbah the certificate he parades. That's the painful aspect of it. Prayer 2 was not granted by the court, but the prayer 2 sought by Mr. Mbah was targeted at the Governorship Election Tribunal. It is intended to stop any staff of the NYSC from attending the tribunal as a witness to testify against Mr. Peter Mbah, even where a testimony is given The prayer is also to stop the tribunal from according any probative evidential value to such testimony. Mr. Peter Mbah wants to gag everybody from speaking about the forgery of the certificate. His people have also been boasting that the judge has assured them once NYSC enters appearance in the suit, the order will be granted and NYSC cannot testify at the tribunal. You can imagine the type of persons who wants to become the governor of Enugu State. It is to ensure that the judicial pronouncement of the court in this matter are seen as just, fair, and untainted, that the Labour Party publicly calls on Justice Inyang Ekwo to recuse himself from further hearing this matter and remit the file back to the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court to reassign to another judge. Otherwise, how will it be explained to the ordinary man that after boasting by the supporters of Mr. Peter Mbah that the judge has assured them of an order such as this, the order is eventually granted? How will the people have confidence in the court? At this point, we'll ask the following questions. 1, Mr. Peter Mbah, if your certificate of national service is genuine, would you need to be running from court to gag people and institutions not to talk about it? Mr. Peter Mbah, if your certificate is genuine, why do you need several court pronouncements and forum shopping to validate? It is very unfortunate that the Inspector General of Police has developed cold feet in the investigation of the forgery allegations against Mr. Peter Mbah. It is also very nauseating to observe that at a time the NYSC is celebrating its 50th anniversary of a beautiful record and existence, the present DG had decided to destroy a long history of reputation of the NYSC by refusing to respond to the inquiry ordered by a court of competent jurisdiction to the AIG Zone 7. It is therefore consequent on the above that the Labour Party has resolved to take the following steps. 1, petition the Chief Judge of Nigeria and the Chairman of the National Judicial Council over the SYMFONI court orders being issued by the judges in this case. 2, petition the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court to transfer suit number FH/ABJ/CS/611/2023 from the court handling it to another court. Petition the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee to investigate allegations of forum shopping by the President-elect and his lawyers, by the Governorship-elect and his lawyers. D, petition the Inspector General of Police to immediately conclude investigation into the forgery allegation and write back to the court which ordered the investigation. Gentlemen, these are the facts and figures of the state of affairs in case of forgery of certificate by Mr. Mbah, the INEC declared Governor-elect of Enugu State. We must all join hands as patriotic citizens to hold those who seek to lead us accountable. Forging public documents and compromising security and judicial institutions in a bid to conceal facts must be condemned by all. By his own hands, on 26 June 2006, Mr. Peter Mbah wrote in a statement under caution before the EFCC that he served in Lagos during the 2002/2003 Batch A, and that his place of primary assignment was in chambers of Nnemeka Piagu. At other times, Mr. Mbah has also at other times stated that his primary assignment was in the chambers of Victor Ude of Ude and Associates. Mr. Peter Mbah also released a letter purported to have been a clearance letter from Ude and Associates, which was not signed by any known lawyer. Law firms do not sign letters. Lawyers do. Where exactly did Mr. Mbah serve? In his statement under reference, Mr. Mbah insisted that Victor Ude was never his boss, but just a family friend. Yet, the same Ude's chambers is purporting to clear him that he had concluded his NYSC assignment and should be paid by the corps. How exactly did Mr. Peter Mbah get the certificate he issued to himself? In the coming days, the Labour Party will do all within its powers to prove that Mr. Peter Mbah was not qualified to contest the election of Governor of Enugu State, having presented a forged certificate to INEC and did not win the election. Thank you, gentlemen, and may God grant each and every one of us the grace and strength to make Nigeria better. Signed, Obiora Ifo, National Publicity Secretary, Labour Party.